See, this is the annual report of TCS, and I took it for one simple reason that nowadays annual report also contains a cash flow statement. So if you look at a cash flow statement, we are just looking at the format. Let us forget the numbers. Now, how complicated it can be. So this is the consolidated statement of cash flows and cash flows. So if you see, when we talked about liquidity items and liquidity items hierarchy, uh, we came across a statement that you can divide your cash flows according to different types of cash flows. So here they have divided as this is a statutory requirement, as you know, that all Indian companies need to give cash flow in this format. But here it divides as cash flow from operating activities, cash flow from investing activities, and cash flow from financing activities. So this is just an indicative thing because to generate all this information is not easy, because cash flow, what is the cash flow actually? If you see, look at the cash flow for the year ended 30 March 31st, 2023. It is the cash flow that happened from the 1st of April of 2022 to March 31st, 2023. So some of these items are like expenses which are directly available off gross account. So if you see depreciation and amortization expense, why is this taken here? Because depreciation does not result in any cash flow, although it is. First, we are starting with the profit for the year because it is assumed that the profit that is generated by the company is in the form of cash. But it is not always true, or it is not 100% true, because certain adjustments are to be made for non-cash expenses and incomes to be able to arrive at the actual cash flow. So here, if you see, what they have done is they're adjusting one by one. So depreciation and amortization. So depreciation is a book adjustment because we are accounting for the reduction in the value of an asset, which is based on some assumptions, but that doesn't mean that I'm paying some cash. I have paid some cash of the asset when I acquired it, but now I'm amortizing it over 10 years. So this is a fictional adjustment. Here we are adding it back. Then if you see, there are a lot of cash expense, but the important thing here is net change in inventories and trade receivables, or net change in working capital, is also accounted for here. So this is where our cash flow is going to generate that information through different means. So it's not easy to configure a cash flow statement in SAP. Sometimes it becomes impossible, or it becomes very difficult to because you have to always compare two figures. Like for example, this change in inventories of 8 million. Yeah, let's. Yeah, yeah. Hello, hi Pushkar. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Amit,
Yeah.
change in inventory, you mean, is it in transit? The processes differently happen, like raw material or then finished goods, or how it is? How we have to read it? Change in
Yeah,
inventory?
so it's yeah. So yeah, Pushkar, to give the your context, see what we are trying to do here is,
Mm-hmm.
I have done some configuration about the liquidity items and how to generate the cash flow. But I was just going through the one example cash flow that is available in public domain.
Mm-hmm.
And what is the purpose of doing this cash flow? So what is the meaning of, like, for example, we'll take certain examples and we'll come to know that how it is arrived at, or how is that figure arrived at, calculated.
Okay.
So we were just going through this initial thing. So the important part is the changes in working capital, because that is most tricky. Other ones are pretty straightforward. So here inventories, Hima's question was, how do you arrive at the figure of 8 of inventories? So what is inventory? Inventory is you need to invest certain amount in your stock in trade or inventory. That is the various raw material, finished goods, semi-finished goods. You need to actually put money into your inventory to be able to build inventory and sell the inventory. So that results in a, so whenever you purchase stock, it results in a cash outflow. Now, what we are measuring here is the change that happened from the last year end to this year end. So the change happened is 8. So continuously this process will go on. And that is how we are mapping the liquidity items so that SAP can dynamically generate this information on a day-to-day basis. Now, this year-end thing is very easy because what they are saying is the amount invested in closing inventory minus the amount invested in opening inventory is my additional cash flow in inventory. So here it is -8. That means last year's inventory was suppose 108 and this year's inventory is 100. Then 8 amount is released from the inventory, resulting in a positive cash flow. Similarly, this also amount is calculated in the same manner that whenever a receivable is generated, it is results in a cash flow into the into the receivable. That is, it reduces my cash. Whereas whenever I get money, it releases my cash. So all these movements should update the liquidity item in SAP. Now, this hierarchy we are building this statutory format requires classification into various types, that what is the cash flow from operating activities, that is the day-to-day activities, then what is the cash flow from investing activities. For example, you made some investments like purchase of investments, or you liquidated investments, you purchased fixed assets, you had bank deposits, and so on. So financial assets or other assets you have purchased. And then the cash flow from financing activities, that is the cash flowing from your long-term loans or any kind of financing, like be it equity financing, debt financing, that you have done, or that could be either you have taken or you have repaid. So now, with this context, let us go into SAP and try to correlate. But Pushkar, you can feel free to add whatever you want in between.
Sure.
So now let us go back to the cash flow analyzer. Now, before that, let us go to maintaining the hierarchies of liquidity items. So now we saw that the liquidity items, we'll see how they are derived. But first, let us look at the uh, liquidity item hierarchies. There is an app called Manage Liquidity Item Hierarchies. And I have created one default one. It's called NXGen LIQ, a liquidity hierarchy for our company called NextGen. So here you get a free form, you can build your hierarchy. And let's say we are following the same format like cash flow from operating activities, investing activities, and financing activities. So here I have created the 3 nodes, and below those nodes, I need to map the liquidity items. So now the standard ones which they have given are very basic. They have given 8 to 10 ones. But if you have to map in this format, we would require at least 25, 30 liquidity items to match different types of flows. So now let us
Amit,
go
one
back.
question here. How did you add that sub items like BNK underscore 001 002 cash payment, cash receipt? Means
Okay,
there
let's
is
go
a
to.
simpler, it's like a financial statement version we create in system,
Yeah, exactly. So it is like a
right?
financial statement version, correct? So here you can add either a sub
Okay,
node
subnode
or a
or liquidity
liquidity.
item. Hmm.
Yeah,
So
so
there
you
are
can go
standard
here.
provided. Okay, receipt, payment, transfer, checks in, checks out, refund. Okay.
So
And as
these
you said,
flows are, yeah,
yeah, yeah, as you
yeah,
said,
sorry.
if something new is expected from client side, then we can add new also, right? We have that facility.
Correct. So these somebody has added like cash flow
Mm.
from financing, financing cash flow, financing, investing, and so on. So you have to actually add both the node also. So here I have added operating activities, uh, financing activity, and investing activity. But these will not be mapped anywhere in the in the mapping that we are going to do. But these are just for the sake of display. But below, these are like the nodes. So even if you have
It
to
does.
add a sub node, yeah, these are like the headers. And below the headers are the actual items. Now,
These are liquidity items, right? Cash payment, cash receipt.
correct. So these are liquidity items. So let us add, for example, something. I mean, this is not a very good example, but I have added something here. So here it will now show in investing checks in financing, for example.
But you're adding as a sub node, right? Not liquidity item.
Here I'm adding a liquidity at. Oh, sorry, sorry. This is
Mhm.
yeah. Let's say this. Yeah, this. Let me delete. Okay. Then you save it and you activate it. And okay. Then okay. So then let us go back to our cash flow analyzer.
Amit, one question here. You have
Yeah.
created this liquidity item, right? So how does this fetch the data based on this? We didn't
Uh,
ask anything else,
y-
right?
yeah. That will come to in a moment. Let's first look at how the report looks like, and then we'll go to the configuration to uh, assign that liquidity item to our transactions. So that's a very valid question. So we come back to this, our famous report, which is, multi-purpose report. And let's say I will take from 15.9, where we have some data. Okay, but here I don't want to see in this format. I want to see it in the liquidity item format. So now there will be a, yeah. So once you enter the liquidity hierarchy, it also gives you the currency. But normally you would use the either, one of the currencies like the group currency or the company code currency to see here, or the particular bank account currency to see your cash flows. So here you can see that, okay, unfortunately it's zero. Yeah, here we have something. So here you can see this in that particular format. So let's try some earlier dates. Uh, yeah, so you can see some figures that cash payment is appearing under operating activities here, not assigned. Yeah, not assigned. We'll just see why it is showing as not assigned. Uh, okay, so this is how the report will we display. But this will be one of the most complex developments. If you actually go in your company to develop this report, it will be quite a time-consuming activity because each flow, we have to first map the flows according to the report which the company uses. And then we will see how to, there are like derivation strategies we used in SD, there are certain derivation strategies to be used for mapping for deriving the liquidity items. So yeah, with this background, we will go to the configuration to see the liquidity items.
And meanwhile, if may I add something to this?
Yes, yes, sure.
Yeah. So generally, whenever cash flow or any such kind of liquidity or cash or other management stuff that you were talking about implementing, this either will be fresh implementation altogether a different project, or most of the cases company already has its structure and you have to just map it into SAP.
Right.
Hello.
Yes,
Okay.
fair
Yeah.
Yeah.
enough.
So it will never be the case that company has a treasury management or cash management practices, and they don't have that those practices, and then fresh start they want to just implement directly into SAP. That generally doesn't happen. They either have such existing practices available outside SAP, so they will have their formats, structures, etc. ready. You just have to identify those structures correctly for which organization, what is the liquidity structure, etc., and accordingly map it into SAP.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so here they have, here you can edit liquidity items. That is, they have given some standard, and I created these headings. But yeah, you can create whichever you want as per the requirement of the client. So, for example, they may have a very detailed structure of, you know, uh, each flow being differentiated. So you can create as many as you want. Somebody has also created these, and then it shows whether it is an outflow or an inflow or both. So, for example, this opening balance and closing balance would
Amish, just one question. These items are nothing but which we assigned in the cash flow, that flow report, right? Liquidity.
correct, correct. So these are nothing but, see, we have, these are
BNK 004
the
and all. Okay.
yeah. And here you have the cash inflow or outflow, what is the direction, and
Hmm.
then some of them might be both, like inflow and outflow, like your, for example, opening balance, for example, or your headers. They could be both inflow or outflow. Or if you classify like a loan transaction, for example, it could be both inflow and outflow. So you can either have two, or you can have both of them clubbed into one only. Now here is where
Amish,
you
if
can,
we club that both into one, and one side I have a minus, one side I have a plus, so something will be surplus, right? So will system will calculate that automatically and give us the balance?
yeah, system will recognize whether it is a plus or minus here. So here you see that system also attaches the sign. So for example, here you have minus 2323. Somewhere you have plus. So even in the final reports which we were seeing, they sometimes don't need the plus minus to be shown separately. So here if you see, all the positive flows are shown in plus, whereas all the reverse flows are shown in minus. So, for example, this is a loss, unrealized foreign exchange loss. It is shown in minus, whereas if it would have been a gain, it would be shown in plus. Interest income is this, I believe, is again a loss. Interest expense, dividend income. Yeah, I mean we have to check this. I don't know in exactly what it is, but yeah, you can see it both ways. But for some reason, if you want it separated, then you better create two flows. But then the derivation rule also has to be that accurate. So, okay. So here you can define queries for derivation of the liquidity item. And let us see one example. So here is a query. So for cash payment, and if you click on the conditions, you can uh, see, the type of conditions we see in the routing rules. So accounting document header conditions, then the accounting document segment conditions, then supplier master data conditions, customer master data conditions. So based on these criteria, now designing these criteria is also would be it require substantial amount of effort, because what is the way you want to. So for example, I want to say that whatever I do by document type ZP is to be treated as a bank payment, cash payment or bank payment, cash in bank is said. So in that case, what we'll do, whatever are the items coming fulfilling those conditions, it will populate the liquidity item accordingly in the FLQ table. So the table we saw.
Uh, Amit, just one question. Can you go to that conditions once again?
Yeah.
Okay. So now if we see, let's say I am doing vendor payment and all my vendor bank payments, which I do via F110 or F111 having ZP document. Okay. In
Correct.
let's say in a particular organization. So I want all those documents should appear in this bank payment tab or bank payment liquidity item, I would say. So only these two conditions we put, or we can just see, like say posting date, I can see the time of entry, last update, translation date. So all those combo we can use, right?
You can use all the combos. So
All the
as
combos.
per,
So
yeah,
based on all
yes,
this
yes,
combination, it will appear.
correct. So for
Basically, I
example,
can restrict it by several ways.
you
Yeah, that
can,
that is why that query option is there, because
Mm-hmm.
as you have asked very correctly, that
Exactly.
the parameters can be numerous based on the requirement
Mm-hmm.
of the organization.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Even I can see the reversal document. So maybe I can create a separate liquidity item and that only I can put a query of reverse documents. And that documents will appear separately. Like,
yes, correct.
mm,
You're right.
okay.
Again, one more question here. When this all the data will be fetched and we do this the cash flow analyzer report when we run, do we have an option to drill down, right? We can double click and go to the document, or we don't have that option here.
Yeah, we do have. So here, if you is, for example, this is 1,000. If you say items, it will drill down to the item level. So here you can see this is a memo record, by the way. So we created one memo record. Yeah, so it has somehow derived. I think we entered manually in the memo record. You can enter manually also the liquidity item.
So in the query, yes, though we have a lot of option to bring the data or restrict the data, but if the cash flow analyzer report is showing us everything in one line, what would be the good approach, right? Rather here.
No, it's not showing you in one line. It's showing you by the liquidity item. So here, if you see, this is a liquidity item. Cash receipt is one liquidity item. Cash payment is one liquidity item.
Right?
So this strategy would derive the liquidity item. But if you further want to drill down to the document level, so here what it is doing, if you have like five payments that are made with the liquidity
Yeah.
item of cash payment, it is going to club all the five payments into this one.
What? Yeah.
But if you
Yeah.
want
So
to drill down,
maybe,
hmm,
yeah, maybe let's say I have 1,000 payment 5 times. So it will just show the final amount of 5,000 for
it
5th
will
of
show.
September. So if
Correct.
I
Because
click, then it will show 5 items, right? Maybe which items it is showing or something.
yes. So here, if
Mm.
you now let's try for an example which has like multiple items. So here the liquidity item is not assigned. But still we'll let's see if the yeah, see here this is five items. So the
Mm-hmm.
total is like but here it's a residual thing. So yeah, you'll see the because this is a management report basically. So the management is not interested in the last rupee generally. So they would be using this report for cash flow planning. So they are happy to have it at the higher level. But still, if you yeah.
In totality. Mm. Okay.
Then you have something known as a so there are so we'll have to design lot of item derivation strategies based on document types and based on company code, based on business transaction, date, whatever it is, all those criteria which we saw. And then you can define query sequences. See, what happens is it's quite likely that one item, liquidity, one document will satisfy two strategies. It's sometimes possible. So the SAP, what it will do is it will ask you to define a sequence, and then you have to assign the queries to that sequence. So it will go in that sequence. So whichever has a higher priority, it will take up that one. And then it will go to the next item. So suppose let's assume that the way the conditions are defined, one one line item satisfies both these conditions. So we don't want that item to appear twice in the report. So what it will do is SAP will. So here, see, if you have seen cases like funds management, also we have derivation of funds. So these strategies SAP always uses. So what we do is from specific, we go to more generic strategy. So specific things that we know are, particular categories, we map it. And then we might have an outlier payment which doesn't satisfy any of the criteria, but it is so small that we don't want to create a category for it. So we'll just say that, if it is not caught in all this, you have a generic high level thing that as long as the amount is credit and the company code is NXGF, you capture it in other payments or something like that. So those kind of things we need to define here.
What is this origin C? Are there drop down options or it is just
Which one?
there in query sequence above that origin, query company code and
Oh,
XGF?
yes, 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 yes.
C means what? Company code.
Yeah, so here it is from
Oh,
GL
sorry.
account,
Clearing
from bank
information.
statement, clearing information, manual charge.
Annual charge, reversal. Okay.
Yeah,
These are
so
work
from
here.
correct. So actually, if you the fields will also change based on what you select. So for example,
Okay. Here we have that option. I was about to ask in the query condition where it is. Okay.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
See, now you will have more options pertaining to treasury. So here
Mm-hmm.
the options have changed drastically
Correct.
from
Money
the.
market
Yeah,
derivatives. Okay. So
yeah,
based on that work area, the query conditions will change area
correct,
wise.
yeah.
The concern options will come. Mm. Okay. So I think based on business requirement, we need to define all these queries and these liquidity items based on these standard origins.
Correct.
Yeah. Uh, if I may pitch in, since you are talking about the requirement, uh,
Mhm.
first big picture is you have to know as from cash perspective
Mhm.
from where my entire data is coming from, whether the landscape is heterogeneous or single landscape. If it is a
Mm.
single landscape, what are the other systems that are giving me the data, if not SAP? Starting from there, you go on mapping the other functions as well, whether I means we have the treasury in place or not, SAP treasury, we have EBS in place or not, and all that,
Mhm.
right? So where data is going to originate, because
Mm.
central point of your perspective is not now the organization, which is general finance angle, but this is more specialized domain of cash handling, cash and liquidity handling. So you are looking from perspective of cash flows in and out.
Mm.
Like
Okay.
for example, a stores person will see company from perspective of logistics, material going and coming.
Going in, coming
right?
in hand.
Similarly, you are looking from cash perspective, how my cash is arriving and how I am spending out or sending it out.
In, mm,
Yeah.
And once we
Kushal,
go,
one more question.
yes, yeah, go
How
ahead.
we bring the ARAP receivables and payables data here? Do we have anything in configuration like that?
Sorry, I missed your question. Please repeat.
I asked how do we get this AR and AP data here?
AR and AP as in, okay. Let's, this is a little broad question. Let's sort it out. There are two types of data we will handle, particularly in cache for AR and AP. Okay. One is master data.
Okay,
Okay. And another one is transaction data.
right.
Right.
mm,
So the how liquidity and cash is handled is, liquidity is something that you don't actually have the cash of this moment. Okay. So
mm,
let's say, I am, if we take an AP example, okay. So
mhm,
if I am raising a PO for my vendor,
mm,
okay. So I am, I from cash perspective, I know that I am going to make a payment after certain time,
mhm,
right? However, the confirmation of that transaction converting into actual obligation of payment is not 100% yet, because at any point of time PO may get cancelled or some
mm,
or other case may happen. So from only from payment perspective, right? There is a still possibility that PO may not be obligated or completed. So I will rate the confidence of that liquidity, outflow liquidity, as not, let's say, not 100%. But when vendor sends the material to me and I accept that material, right? So there is an obligation that I am seeing in near future. So I'll have to make sure that my planning is now updated accordingly, right? And
okay,
whenever my actual invoice is nearing due, right? So
okay,
my level of actual transaction happening, the payment transaction that I'm supposed to send it to vendor, its chances are highly high chance. There are high chances, like 100% chances are there, right? Because I have legally obligated now. I have raised a liability at my level for
mhm,
making the payment.
mm,
Hard, let's say, let us not say 100%, 99.99%.
mhm,
Right? So
okay,
I will be making that payment in
mm,
due time, right? So
in
from
time.
treasury or cash management or liquidity or planning perspective, I'll have to ensure that funds are arranged accordingly on that day of making the actual payment transaction,
Mhm,
right? So that is
okay,
coming under liquidity management. Now at the time of making actual payment, that amount has to be in part of my bank, right?
any of the account
So
disbursement account.
any of the account, whatever account that I plan to make the payment.
Payment.
So that is my cash management now. Now it is no
Mm,
longer liquidity management.
mm.
Now it is cash management.
Correct. Means on the particular due date, it will be cash management. Until the due date reach, it will be a liquidity management. If
Yes,
I'm not wrong, right?
far any far thing from liquidity or cash equivalent is
Mm,
liquidity. Anything that I am actually handling the cash is cash management.
mm, mm,
So until something is not cash is liquidity. Once we reach that point is the cash, correct?
Correct. Ultimately you will be paying, not paying liquidity, you will be paying cash. Cash
Cash.
means cash, bank, check and all that.
yeah, whatever mode of payment. Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, but I think Hemat's question was how these ARAP items,
Mhm.
Amit, can you go to that screen, BP Master? You were
How the
showing
data
something,
will
right?
be
That
fetched?
planning group.
Somewhere something must be there, right, to fetch all this data. What is that integration point?
Now, for example, if we see this planning group, which is domestic
Yes.
customer, so I think last time we checked, if we post an invoice with this particular vendor or customer,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? Somewhere we saw, I think, in the report cash flow analyzer, we see that amount. So that integration, actually, I think, Hema, you're asking, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is
Hmm.
where that integration happens. Based
Hmm.
on that BP
Hmm.
master, you assign that planning group and levels.
Hmm.
And whenever you are entering a particular PO or invoice,
Hmm.
then that gets triggered. And based on that, system knows, because for invoice, right, from
Hmm.
system perspective, system is it is known to system that now I'll need to make the payment because obligation has been created now.
Hmm.
Correct. So that part is covered in the master, and also from the invoice and other things.
Okay, so I can see that planning group A1 is assigned to the BP master of customer or vendor, and then this
Mhm.
F1 level is assigned here to that A1. So if I
Yes.
post any invoice, let's say due date of 7th October tomorrow, and if I
Mhm.
execute cash flow analyzer, then that invoice item should be available in the cash flow analyzer in the level of F1,
Yeah.
right? Same way,
Right.
just say like in the GL master, we assign the planning level. Same way
Correct.
in vendor and customer master, we need to assign the planning group, and in the
Correct.
configuration, planning level is assigned to planning group.
Yeah, that is why I said a master data, because in
Hmm.
GL items it is GL master. For
Hmm.
AP it is or AP or AR it is BP master.
Vendor master, BP
Vendor
master,
or customer, whatever.
customer, anyone.
Yeah.
Am I clear?
Yes, and one more question, Pushkar. Earlier, I remember somewhere we used to have this GL mapping, but with this new functionality of cash flow analyzer, we don't have to map the GL accounts anywhere, right? It automatically picks up by this configuration, planning level and groups.
You mean you don't have to map planning level or planning group to any GL? You are saying that?
No,
No,
see,
no.
I thought that to be done because that's the integration point. I know in GL Master we assign that.
Hmm.
But earlier to this cash flow analyzer is a new concept in cash flow, right? But
Right.
when we go for our classic cash flow, there
Hmm.
this was not there, and we used to assign some GL series there, correct?
In
In
the
the
configuration.
I
configuration.
Oh,
classic one I haven't used, so unfortunately I'm not sure.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah. But if that might be the case, because or otherwise, that is why we have that queries and everything to flow that. If in earlier version or earlier solution queries was not there, so there has to be some point that we'll have to map somewhere. But
Correct.
I am not entirely sure. I haven't worked on that, so I don't have any data on that.
One thing I will add to this is that what you say is absolutely right. So they have given the GL account also, but that is to be used as a last option. So if you see liquidity items here, derivation under derivation rules, there is a default liquidity item for GL account. So you can directly assign a liquidity item to GL account also here. But I think this is to be used as
okay.
an
This is
exceptional case.
okay. This is range of GL, chart of account, company code, GL range,
And your
and this is
liquidity
default.
item also assigned, Tushar, here.
Ah,
Second last one.
you see this BNK underscore 0057. Those are
Yeah, yeah.
liquidity items we configured,
Yeah.
and for that there is direct GL account assignment of range and company code and chart of account combination. Okay. And what are options here in this inclusive and exclusive?
There are
Selection.
two options. Yeah. So
Okay,
either inclusive or
exclusive of
defined.
defined values, inclusive of defined values. Okay. So either means this is not mandate, right? If we already assigning in a GL master company code, house sorry, house bank account ID and that planning level, then I think this node, if we don't configure, it will still work based on the other configuration.
Yeah, generally it should work because this is for liquidity item derivation, and
Mm.
so from the that was for the planning groups. But yeah, it should here in the queries you should
Yeah, exactly.
capture.
Because query level, we are already giving the conditions, right?
Exactly. And
Yeah,
that is
Mm.
more fluid.
Mm.
yeah,
Okay.
that is more dynamic in the sense that you'll be able to handle more types of scenarios using queries rather than a fixed assignment. But it's something like interest paid account, then you don't want to flow it through so many queries because interest paid is always interest paid. So you can directly assign the liquidity item to it.
GL accounts.
Yeah.
Amit, can you go to this node, define liquidity item derivation settings for company code, just to see what it is? Okay, company code. Okay, here also those origins are there from clearing, from invoice, the CD and all those things. Query
Yeah, here,
sequence is also there. So it is also.
correct. So here there is a standard derivation function, but I
Mm.
believe I'm not 100% sure that if you want to use a customized function module, so you copy
Mhm.
this function module and you make changes in the function module also. So that would be possible. But SAP has given one function module for standard derivation. So it's quite possible that you can use a body within this function module or some kind of an exit to create your own. Otherwise, there is nothing you need to do here. It is just assignment that you have to do.
Okay, but this is the mandatory step, right? For derivation.
Yes, because based on the document parameters, it feeds that into the this function module, and from
Mhm.
the function module, it is derived again from the rules that we have defined in the previous steps.
Mm. Query conditions.
Yeah. But I think they have given the step here is because you may want to customize this and add a Z FSCLM and put your own logic into it also.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to show. Yeah, I think that's all we wanted to see today.
Amit, I have
Uh,
couple of questions.
yes.
So can you go to SPRO under cash management general settings? Under cash management basic settings, define basic settings. Mm. So here, if you see, there are so many options like full scope. Can you drop down that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you
So
see full scope basic, so how does it impact? Means as a consultant, if I select full scope, if I select basic scope, how the means what is the behavior of this?
yeah. So basic scope. See, this is a licensing option. So full scope is
Mm.
required for all the reports that we saw. Full scope is required for the full scope bank account management, BCM. approval workflows. If you take basic scope, you will still be able to create house bank and bank accounts and all that, but you will not be able to use any advanced functions like the signatories or the
Mechanism.
some. Yeah. So there is a detailed SAP note on this. I can forward this to you. I'll check and forward. It's available. The differences between basic scope and full scope. But basic scope is free. It is
Mhm.
included with the base version of S4HANA. Full scope, there is an additional license, and all these access reports we are seeing is included in the full scope.
Full scope. Okay. And what is this other, this request grouping? So must change payment approval, group into single. Okay.
Yeah, so these options are, for your approval settings for banks. So whatever workflow is triggered. So what are the options available here? That mass change payment request,
Group into single. Must change
single
payment
change
request
request,
group
group by
based on
company code, group by account
based
type,
on
and group by.
type.
Yeah, and this I think is generally under full scope only, not under basic scope.
Yeah, that's right.
So
The
for
workflow.
us, yeah,
Yeah, this is for changes that you are making to the bank accounts. So once we saw that responsibilities. See, whenever you make any changes to the bank account or you create new bank account, it will
Mhm.
generate a request. So this transaction is called OOCU underscore RESP, or you can go through the uh, menu option, define responsibilities for use work. So this is not the payment workflow. This is the
Mhm.
bank change workflow. So you have a standard way, that is FLCM. Yeah, this one. Cash manager and cash specialist, I think. So you can define two-level workflow, cash specialist and cash approver manager. So whenever you make changes to critical field in bank accounts, it will trigger a workflow. Or you create new bank accounts by upload, or you
Mhm.
change by upload or LSMW or whichever method. So this
Mhm.
setting, what it is saying is that once the payment request is generated, sorry, the change request is generated, how you want to group it. So everything should be grouped. Suppose you upload 5 bank accounts, whether everything should be grouped into one change request, group by company code, group by account type, or group by company code and
Combination of.
account type. Yeah. So
So if
yeah,
we
here,
select first, two company code also, request also will come into in the one,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So, but here in the rule definitions also you can, yeah, segregate by the company code. But yeah, if you select all into one, then it will create a single request. But generally, I don't think that is used. Yeah, what we are using is we had seen this in our old system. Therefore, I think you remember we had a different system earlier, which didn't work unfortunately. So yeah, so these are two rules. One is 006 and 007. 008. COPC, no, this is not the one, sorry. There is another one called Cash Manager.
Is this starting with 743?
No, this is easy. See, Cash Specialist, Cash Manager. This one, Cash
Mm.
Specialist. 743,
Mm.
yeah, 743. Yes, correct. So FCLM Cash Specialist. So here you can, give two, Cash Specialist and Cash Manager.
Mm.
Somebody has created. Here you can give company code also, so you can
Mm.
segregate
Mm.
by company code, account type. Those are the only two options available.
Okay, so we are saying in that basic setting node, although the grouping into single, but at this level also we can bifurcate based on that. There are options.
Yes.
Bank account activation active directly dual control or workflow. Okay. So
Yeah,
directly means
activate.
there is no any approval. Directly it
No.
will active.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
Dual control means it works like your vendor confirmation.
Hmm.
So there
Hmm.
is no workflow, but anybody with the same authorization, a different person, can go and
Hmm.
activate it. So you create, then HEMA can activate. If HEMA create, you can activate, provided both of you have the change authorization. And workflow means we just saw that it will create a workflow and it will go to the inbox and then you have to approve through the inbox.
Hmm. Okay. And one more thing. Can you go to grouping under cash management? Planning levels we saw that there are standard planning levels. And can you go to maintenance structure? Yeah. So here, actually, what it means, this plus signs, that E and G, I just saw it in my organization also, but I did not understand what it is. And because here also you see this Deutsche Bank and all same, I can see. So maybe this is standard, default. So do we
Um,
don't use it? It is just because you see this E and G means, I think if you do F4 there, one is at level and one is something else. I don't forgot now. One is
I
at level and
think
one is at group something. But what's the use of it? Or it is just not required?
I think it is more for the old reports that we had, like the
I think so.
FF, yeah, 67,
Yeah,
because
that is for if FF starting with FF reports, cash and liquidity.
But those are not means outdated right now, we are saying, and only the single cash flow analyzer is in scope now.
Yeah, for yes, but still you can use. I think they are still available. Those reports, I guess.
Mm.
Yeah, that one FF 7 is N and BN.
yeah, here you can select the grouping
Yeah,
and
I think these are still available, but
Mm.
more and more we are shifting from these reports to the Fury reports.
Mm. I think in S4 they will mostly now people will use Fury reports only.
Yeah, they are still available, and they're my actually personal favorite because I have worked on these reports.
Yeah, so then if we go there, what is this plus zero? What is the relevance of it? Bank IST, we understand it's a grouping, okay.
Mhm.
But then if you see the second column, this type E and G, what is the relevance of it? One is level, one is
It's
group.
level and group.
Okay, so FF7A, if someone need to use, this has to be configured, you meant to say, right?
Yes,
I
yes,
can chart of account, company code, those fields I understand. But this
yes.
summarization or some term, Deutsche Bank, so it is just bank name we need to give, or means just want to understand what did that configuration. I think it's not a grouping. I think this is
Just execute it once.
because I tried to understand myself, but I'm not getting that. What exactly that configuration means, plus signs, or if we said grouping and level,
See, here are all the levels.
B1, B0, those are standard one, F0 and
Yep, yep.
mm. And where is that level then, which is there in configuration?
here
Maybe
I think it is displaying in thousands. That is no days, weeks, month. Created.
Because for this FF7A, there is another node also, config node, specifically in SPR.
Okay, I'll go there.
Yeah.
Now it is showing you the amounts.
Mhm. Can you double click on that? The
Some measure summarization term banks.
summarization term. So that summarization term we gave Toish there. Here it is
Yeah.
coming as banks. Some linkage is there. Is there banks somewhere? Summarization term. Yeah, so many things are there. I think
There will be
PA
somewhere.
can. It must be because we are getting it right.
Yes.
Yeah. So how? But means maybe in future no one will use this if cash flow
Yep.
analyzer will be the one. But
This is the one which
which
we
we are
just
saying. So
pulled up.
means
Yeah.
PV selection is plus. So plus means I can see the
Uh,
A1, A2 and all also. So what it is actually this?
the plus is nothing but what we call it. In EBS also we use, right?
Hmm, what it called? I forgot. Hemant, do you
Yeah,
remember?
me too. It's been
Uh,
Masking of
masking.
yeah,
previous.
perfect, perfect. Masking.
Okay. Masking. Okay.
See what happens to Shar when you saw that banks line, right? So
Hmm,
all PL was plus plus first. So
hmm,
if
hmm,
all summation in the last we get, right? I think that levels it is. So for everything, it will give you that total of it.
hmm, hmm.
So what I understand from this node is, see how you want to summarize your report, where you want to do the totals. You can design that report based on that configuration. That is how I see. It might be little different.
Yeah, exactly. Because I can see grouping and level. Now it is G for banks.
Let's try with Vice sub. It has more breakup.
Mm-hmm.
Now it is showing you the breakup like domestic, foreign, but we have only one vendor. So A1, yeah.
A1 must be maintained in the BP master, right?
Yes.
Okay. Domestic grouping it is showing when we enter.
Oh, I think here for the selection is kind of a selection description, is it? So A1 is domestic, A2 is foreign.
Mm-hmm. Can we check one example where group is not there but level is there? Do we have something?
Uh,
Just for
Group
my
No,
is
understanding.
no, those are primary key, Tushar. Just see.
No, no, no. I'm saying the type of selection is G, which is group. But there is another type of selection which is E, which is level.
I previously Amit was in one node, right? There they had
Hmm.
given
Yeah,
ENG
okay, fine.
definition actually.
Hmm.
We were reading, right? Some F1 help. They gave there this definition ENG. See, it's there.
I think what is possible in Fury through hierarchies.
Mm-hmm.
Here you can manually build the hierarchy. It looks like grouping is nothing but a hierarchy. But if you see in Fury, it is available by default. So if you go to now, this is the similar report what we had. But if I extend here, it will show by default company code. But you can change the display hierarchy and enter the hierarchy which you want. It seems to be something similar to this. Like here, you can enter bank account hierarchy, for example, and it will show
No,
you
but
a.
uh, liquidity item hierarchy in this is a way to go going forward. Uh, Generally, people will not use FF. reports because it's very specific. And other thing that is a configuration thing. However, liquidity item, if app access is given to anybody, they will fluidically or anytime they will change that hierarchy themselves.
I think this FF reports, I think Hema in CTS they were using it, right?
The scope was very limited, Tushar.
Hmm.
Very, very
Only
limited.
for, and we were in ECC anyways that
Hmm.
time.
So there they didn't
Yeah,
have the
those are
standard.
ECC reports only.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, and just can you just scroll down to memo records, Amit, just little bit under flow types. There is and can you go to define cash management account name? Yeah. So here I can see CM account outgoing, the GL account assignment is there, the bank account number is there. Then there is what is this? Because in I checked here in organization, the bank account ID, bank account and GL account assigned. So what is the relevance of this node? Because memo record we post manually. So if the configuration node is there, means something prerequisite before posting memo records we have to do here. Because I think this name is free text field where here we maintain the account IDs. That can be fine, but what's the use of, because I can see jail account, bank account assignment is there.
Yeah, again, this seems to be for the old this thing, because the memory card we created did not require any such name. But here you can see that the account name is
It's
being
coming
pulled
in
here.
the
Yeah,
pop-up window F4. So this SPRO configuration data is coming here when we select the F4. This whatever you configured, same outgoing, out
correct.
GNG.
But if you see these memo records, they
Mm,
don't. We just created them uh,
mm.
and gave the bank account directly. Let's see once again.
So then in old systems, I would say if we need to configure it and every time in memory record posting, if we need to select that account name, that is for what purpose? Means just to come in that FF reports, those memory records to appear, right? I think.
Yeah, yeah. I think this like a short name for a detailed bank account. So here, instead of
Mm,
having this bank account and GL account, see
mm,
here we are giving the bank account manually, and the GL account is really not required here, right? Because GL account will be determined based on the uh, GL account. How does it derive? Because does it need the jail account? Because memo record just needs the link to the liquidity item and to the planning group. So here we have given both planning group and liquidity item. So I don't
And
think it requires.
is required for memo records, right?
What is required? Sorry, can you say it
GL
again?
is not required, right? Because we don't do any posting.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So in this old
But
report,
Amit, in some
hmm.
cases, that memo record gets converted also. So in that case, we need GL, huh?
So I was also under the impression, but here it seems convert means convert to inactive. So if I click on
Ah,
convert, it is saying, are you sure you want to convert the active record into an inactive record?
yeah.
So
Because
we
in
are
FF
at,
report, I think we used to do something else, and here we have to do this. So it will stop showing in the report sims when you make it inactive, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yes, because it is no longer needed and you don't want to display it to any of the report anymore
Right.
because it's like a parking lot. There
Hmm.
are a certain data not available, so you generate from a help of memory record. And
Right.
once the need is done, then you close that memory record by making it inactive.
Yes.
So I think in your system they must be using the FF7A also till now. So that is why they may have done these kind of mappings, defined cash management
No,
account name.
in our system, they are not at all using the cash management. Okay, but
Okay.
down the line, 1 year now,
Will
we are predicting this cash management they will pick up, and they may
Yeah.
go for complete new implementation.
Mhm.
correct.
But I'm sure they will not use the FF7 in that case. They will use the cash flow analyzer report only.
Yes.
Right.
Mhm.
And one question, Pushkara. Suppose my treasury system is not a SAP system and I want to bring some data from that system. So how can I interface it with this Fiori apps and all? Means how can I update the data? Is there a way?
Yeah, you can always bring data, but again, typically that solution is provided by the solution architect. How the data will be flown from where to when.
Mhm.
Typically, that solution is not part of a consultant's job, our job.
Okay.
Because it is a part of landscape designing. There can be traces like IDOC might be the IDOC, might be some different data, might be they are doing this replication software they might use. There are different tools also available nowadays.
Okay. Okay. Fine. I'll explore on that.
Yeah, so it is very there is no standard rule. It totally depends on how the landscape is designed, which data is flowing from where, what type of system architecture is there, heterogeneous or they are trying to create a central box for finance. There are many aspects to that.
Okay. Okay. Fine. No problem. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah. Can I ask one, two questions more if we have time or
Yeah, we can take last few questions.
yeah. Can you go to this define level in payment request? This is also now not required or we need to configure it because I can see some levels and PR level means payment request. Okay. And then some things is defined here. So do we need
Uh,
to do this for, to show the payment request level also in the cash flow analyzer? Like if you see this B2 is, I think, outgoing bank transfer, and B3 is there, which is cash payment. F0 is, I think, bank clearing something, right? We check that.
yeah, they're all mapped to payment request.
They're all mapped to payment request level. Means if you see those are planning levels and there is a PR level separate column. Separate cash management planning level for payment request. If the cash management update writes the flows to the bank account, must define a separate planning level. Otherwise, the payment requests are displayed at the same level as the bank statement postings.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
generally depends when you have two different days for your payment request coming from F111 and then actual payments,
Hmm.
which is
Okay, you mean
F110.
say after my payment order post, if a payment request is created, if we don't do this configuration, then that amount also will be shown at the bank clearing level or something. You mean to say?
Yes.
Correct. Yes, yes.
If
Can
you
it be?
want to show it part somewhere, like today you are creating payment requests and
Mhm.
tomorrow you are making actual payment. So today
Hmm.
still money is still there in the bank, right?
PR. Hmm.
Yeah.
At
So
PR
then
level.
you will assign it to PR levels.
Yeah, so just to see that payment request level separately, we have to do this configuration. Although it is old
If
FF7A
they
or it is
want,
new.
generally they won't go that far. Maybe again, we don't know for sure exactly the requirement. Based on the requirement gathering, you will come to know how they want
Exactly.
to do it.
Okay, and how we can decide? Can you close this, Amit? how we can decide? No, no, go to that node. I can see only four nodes may be assigned to this level. Let's say B2, B3, B5, and so generally, if I need to show the payment request level separately, let's say I am creating a payment request, 10 payment requests today, and I'm going to make a payment on Monday. So at least today, end of day, if I'm executing, I have to see that amount lying in the payment request level. So
Yeah,
yeah, so this B2, B3, B5, F0,
they are planning
they,
levels.
they are planning levels, correct? Can you go to there? Just go there. This is country, I think. Country level also we can restrict, and payment method level also, I think.
Yeah.
But generally we don't do it. Yeah, can you go to planning level? This, yeah, just F4 there. I can see F0, B2, B3, B5. Okay, B2 is outgoing bank transfer, B3 cash, and B5 is other interim postings. So obviously collection we don't do. Outgoing checks also we have to do, right? If I have a check payment, that time also payment request will get created. So it depends, right? We
Depends.
can decide
Depends.
based on the customer requirement. If they
Yes.
said that all the type of payments I want checks also, then I can assign the B1 also here,
Yes.
right?
You will have
Hmm.
to assign then.
Hmm. Hmm.
What is for
Okay.
treasury? Do we have a planning level by default created by SAP for treasury payment?
Means TRM, right? You're asking.
Yeah,
Basic.
dear.
There must be something starting deposits and deposits,
Yeah, there will be many.
security revenue.
Usually
See
Okay.
we
that
don't have to
TR
create new.
currency options, bank currency options, subledgers.
See TR bank country, TR currency option bank. See we have already
Yeah,
OBOP.
most of that is already created by ACP, and again, but if the names are different, you know the practice how you will
Yeah,
do. Copy that, rename it, and use the separately.
right,
Yeah, most of the cases will go by that way, by doing a configuration that how we do typically for ACP.
right, Push.
Okay. And am I anything else from your end?
No, no, Tushar,
Or we are
nothing.
good?
Yeah, we are
Yep.
good.
Okay, then Pushkar, I think we are covered all the topics, I guess. So, any anything you want to add or
Oh, parting thoughts.
parting thoughts?
How was the training, Hema and Tushar?
See, my experience is good, Pushkar. A little
Yeah.
bit we had a hiccups on cash management, and I understand the like Amit already
Yes,
said,
yes,
told
yes.
us. Okay, that's okay. And I want to add here something like when you are conducting these trainings, right? The system
Hmm.
issues what we faced multiple times should not happen. Like once in a
Yes,
while is okay,
Yes,
and
yes.
in our case, at least we had a lot of hiccups in these areas.
correct. So system is really an issue because in market there is no quality system available,
Yeah.
reliable, that we already discussed right earlier. That's the problem that we have been facing quite some time.
Yeah,
Even
and I
when
mean,
we started, sorry,
no,
sorry,
no,
Amit.
I was no, no, I was going to say same thing. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah,
I mean,
even
yeah. Sorry. No, I was
happening
just
as jinx.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we tried various systems, as Tushar is
Mm.
saying. Sorry, Pushkar is saying. But yeah, indeed, for the student, it is definitely a challenge. We can understand that because, but sometimes it is so frustrating that you do all the configuration and they refresh the system.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a very valid point that we should keep the search on for a system that is more reliable and that can give a more better experience to the student in terms of consistency of data, in terms of not having continuous connectivity.
Mm.
Connectivity is sometimes a big issue. Systems are slow. Yeah, that is a point which, yeah, definitely is.
And
from system.
Many times I will tell you other way around. Actually, many times you will see the configuration still there. I have worked on a system for one more training where I needed to do the entire configuration again and again,
Yeah, that issue we also
repeatedly.
sometimes faced. Yeah, one time I think Amit we faced, right?
Only one
When to
time.
change our
That's what
configuration. Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. I will be doing daily, almost daily, the same configuration
Okay.
in one so there are again, that's what that is the real challenge I'm we are facing, not only for a system in the entire market also.
Okay.
Reliability is not there, and again there are also some newer things coming time to time, so nobody wants to invest in the systems that much, because every year there will be fresh version, everybody will need fresh version.
Okay. Hmm. So
So
we also have some limitations, right?
yeah, unfortunately, that is why in start only I said that there might be some hiccups, but still we manage pretty good actually.
Yeah. I don't have any issues. Just one thing
Yes, yes.
from my
Yes,
side, one
yes.
request, okay? I would really like to go through all the recordings once again, okay? Because I really did not get chance to look in the system and correlate. So that if you